the last part of Module 2, Part A, Part A.3, Basic HTML Elements, Part 1. Yeah. Because I plan to use several videos to cover this topic. We need to learn a long list of HTML elements. So I divided into, pretty much, let me see, 4 videos. 1 for this part and 3 more for the next part. Yeah. All right, so let's start the first part. In this first part, I only talk about 2 elements in HTML, but 2 very important, very basic, important. Yeah. Number 1, image element. Many times we need to add many images into a web page. This is the element we need to use. Yeah. The tag, like this, just img. Yeah. So it is not a complete image word, okay? Just img. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Then this tag, we can use it to embed an image in a web page, HTML web page. Okay? Yeah. And we can embed many images in different locations in your page. Yeah. Now, let's try to understand this element, some special properties. The first one, this tag or this element is an empty element. So we know the empty element, the meaning, right? The content is empty. You can never add any content to this element. Okay? Yes. And another thing, it does not have closing tag. So it is not a container. If you have opening tag, closing tag, so you make this element as a container, so you can put a lot of things in this container, but this one is not. Empty tag, empty element. There is no way to put any elements into this tag. Yeah. It's property, basic property. Yeah. In order to use it, we use 2 attributes, required attributes. You have to provide these 2 attributes. The first one, source, src, not complete source word, src. So from its name, you can see you need to provide the source of your image. Okay? Specifies the path to the image. This path, we know, refers to URL of the image. The location of an image in the web, we usually use URL to represent it. Okay? Yeah. So, but URL, how do we write URL? The format we use to URL, we use slash, right? Slash corresponds to path, because those slashes, those things also, the whole string corresponds to many times, remember, many times, not always, many times specific locations in the server. Specific locations in the server, many times. But why I say not always, there is some special situation. People do not really use the physical location of the resource. People use logical name. Logical name, that does not correspond to the physical location. So that's why I say sometimes, although probably most of the time, yeah, but not always. All right, so here the path, we still call the path, okay? We still call the path. The format is in path. The path we mean the URL location. Yeah. Later, when we learn some more examples, we can understand this kind of situation better. Yeah. All right, next. Second attribute, alt, A-L-T, alt, alternative. Specify an alternate text for the image. Alternate text for image. What's that? Alternate text for image. Why we need that? Yeah. So we will see the meaning. We need it. Yeah. In order to give us some extra information we need in some very special situation, we need it. Yeah. So let's look at the syntax, and I explain that alternate text usage, why we need it. All right, the syntax straightforward like this. Okay. One tag, ing, one tag with two attributes. It is an empty tag, no content, no closing tag. Okay, so matches the basic properties. Yeah. Then this alternate text used in this situation. Think about if the URL that points to the image is not available. Now, sometimes, by some reason, people may remove that image from the web, okay, and replace it by something different, or removed, but before replace it by a new image, then you cannot get it. So nobody can access that image. In that case, what do we see for this tag part? It's empty, right? Because there is no image. So what you see is an empty tag, nothing. Then people do not know what's that. What's the meaning of that? Okay. So usually that empty image, there is some little icon, some little icon telling you something is missing there. But we do not know what is expected to be there, right? So we need a little more information to tell us what is supposed to be there. Yeah. Here, this alternate text telling us that. Okay. Basically, it gives us some short description on the content of the image. So what's that image about? Is it about a building, about a kid, or it's about a ball game? Telling the audience some extra information. Yeah. All right. Another thing I want to connect to one item we learned last time, that is close that tag. There is no closing tag, right? We know if there is no closing tag, your document cannot pass the validation of XHTML tool, validation tool. Yeah. In that case, in order to make it pass the validation, we do this. Yeah. We add a slash in front of the closing arrow bracket. Right after it, before it, and we also insert empty space. Although some people may not do it, but it's good. It's a good way to insert empty space. Yeah. This empty space has a special meaning. It tells people the content is empty. The content of this element is empty. That's the meaning behind this expression. Yeah. So with this, now your image tag can pass that very strict validation procedure. Yeah. All right. So that's this the syntax. All right. Another thing I want to explain. Yeah, this URL. Sometimes our image may be put in a folder, yeah. Because usually when people use images for their website. They want to create a special folder to hold all the images. Yeah. So usually people use this images folder. When that happens, yeah. So you do not connect, you are connect to the image file name directly, but make sure you also point to the right folder, right directory name, then inside that directory, the file name. Yeah. Yeah. Later, so at this point, later, I will talk about, there is one item I want to explain regarding this URL. There are two cases. In next a few slides, I will discuss that. Yeah, because this URL, there are two different situations. Yeah, so we will see that details later. Yeah. All right. Next, this. So images are not technically inserted into a web page. What does it mean? Yeah. So we put that image tag there. It does not mean that image is retrieved from the server and embed there automatically. It's not that like that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So the images are linked to web pages. Images still in their web pages, but we will load them later when we need them. Yeah. When we need those images, then we load from the server. Yeah. All right. So let me explain that detail. How to load an image. That detailed step. Yeah. All right. So the img tag creates a holding space for a referenced image. Yeah. Placeholder. Yeah. So later, after we load the image, that we fill in this empty space. Yeah, placeholder. Yeah. Now let me explain the image loading procedure. All right. Suppose you have a document. Okay. So this is your HTML document. All right. So inside it, suppose here, let me just use two images. Yeah. I need two images. Okay. Image one. Yeah. So here I'm just give you some meaning. Excuse me. Image number two. All right. Yeah. So, all right. Now let me explain. So when the page is loaded from the server, and you use a web browser to display this HTML document, at the beginning, these two images are not loaded. No. These two images, just the text of the image tag loaded. Okay. Excuse me. The concrete images are not loaded the first time. Okay. Yeah. All right. After the whole page is loaded, then remember the missing things, two missing images. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now the browser will load. We'll go to the specific location to get image and then load it and then fill in this place. Then display it. Then the second one. Excuse me. The second one. Then another trip. Could be the same server or different server, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, just somewhere to get another image. If you have a long list of images, it takes more time because every time 1, 2, 3, 100. If you have 100 images in one page, you need to wait quite some time. Probably, 1-2 minutes. Yeah. So, yeah. Keep in mind, it could be very slow if you have large number of images in one page. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that's the some basic facts about this IMG tag. Next, another important problem I want to explain, that's the image size. When you display an image, there is a original size, right? The width and height, right? Image has its own width and height, right? Yeah. So when you display it, sometimes you display the original image, but sometimes you want to scale that image. Okay? Yeah. Because sometimes one image could be very large, huge image, so make your page not look well. So you want to rescale it, resize it, make it smaller, right? Sometimes if the image is too small, you want to enlarge it a little bit, yeah, but you need to resize some image. Yeah. How to do it? Yeah. So that's very easy. Yeah. We use two attributes, width and height. That's one way. Another is the style attributes. This way, another way we can do. But the style way, I want to delay because it is mainly associated with the CSS technology. Okay, so when I do the CSS part, I will spend a lot of time explaining this style attribute. Yeah, so let's delay it. Yeah. So we just talk about width and height. This is example. In this example, after we display image, then we specify some integer number, positive integer number, telling us the pixel. Yeah, image we measure by pixels, right? So I hope you have the pixel concept in your mind. All right, so 600 pixels for the width, 500 pixels for the height. So you can specify in that way. Yeah. So that when you want to resize it, you adjust the pixel numbers. Okay. Yeah. You can do that. That's one way. Yeah. Another way, we do not use pixel numbers. We use percentages. Original size, that's 100%. Now you want to reduce the width direction 1/2, the height dimension also 1/2. 1/2, 1/2, total 1/4. 1/4 of the image. You can use this simple way. Okay? Yeah. Although for the previous example you can do 300, right? Pixels, 250. Yeah. You can do some simple math to calculate the new height, new width. Yeah. But this percentage way for rescale your image relatively easier. All right. But there is a problem about this case. So what's the problem? So the problem is, how do you know the original size? Although using some software you can figure out the original size, but sometimes it's not convenient, right? Yeah. You need to find a way to figure the size, then you put it. So it's not very convenient. But think about this. If you put some number at the width, what number you should put as the height? Okay? If you put a number for the height, that may not proportional to the original dimensions. Yeah, not proportional. Okay? Yeah, the width dimension you reduce by 30%, but the height dimension you reduce by 20%. So that scale down not in proportion. when you do that, your image is distorted. Your image is distorted, not look right. Okay? So you don't like to see that happen, right? Yeah. So the question, let me ask you this question. How to resize an image without distortion, without this distortion. Okay? So here I do not give you the answer at this point. So I like you to study to find the answer for this question. Okay? Yeah. But first I can tell you the question you can find in our textbook. Yeah. If you find the right page talking about the image size, resize, that topic, okay, there is one sentence describe the solution of this one. So that's one. I'll tell you the answer. You can find it easily from our textbook. Second, some students may like to do the web search. I did it. I tried. Yeah. So I tried to, use some appropriate keywords, do the search. Yeah. But the result, I couldn't find a satisfied solution. Yeah. So people provide all different ways. Yeah. Some methods pretty complicated, but the solution actually very simple. Yeah. If you see some solution very complicated, so that's not the right one. Okay? The solution is very simple, but I spent half an hour do the web search, but I couldn't find that simple solution. Yeah. Our textbook has it, because when I do the search in my mind, I know the answer. So I know which one is good, but all those I have seen, no good solution. Yeah. All right, so you can try. Later at some point, I will talk about that solution. Okay? Later at some point, then I will find some right situation. So I explained that solution. Yeah. If I forget that, you can remind me. Okay? So when you have chance, you can remind me. I will discuss that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. This is our first element. Then our second element. Another big important element for HTML technology. Hyperlinks. Yeah. Yeah. Why HTML? Why the web pages so important? Because of hyperlinks. Hyperlinks make the web pages so useful, so convenient. Remember the inventor of the web, right? Tim Berners-Lee, in our introduction part. That, British engineer, right? Yeah, English engineer. So, yeah. Tim Berners-Lee, in his proposal, he described his idea. Marry, hypertext, with the reference document, that idea. The key idea, using hyperlinks to connect references in different locations in the web. So that's why this is a really big thing we need to learn for this technology. A hyperlink acts as a pointer. So look at this, pointer to some particular place in some web resource. Yeah, pointer, all right? Point to the location where you can download the reference document. Yeah. Yeah. All right, the particular place, we use the URL to locate it. Okay? Yeah. Next, the syntax. Syntax, very simple. We use this A tag. Okay? A tag. A. The tag name is just one letter, A. A tag. Okay? That simple. Yeah. Then we use one attribute, each ref attribute. Yeah, I'll explain the meaning of these two things. The URL link test. When you click this link test, you will retrieve that document. All right, so now let me explain the meaning. First, what's the meaning of A? A refers to anchor. So this tag is used as an anchor. Because look at this pointer, anchor, right? So they are closely related. How do we do the pointing action, right? How do we make that pointing action? So this is the anchor, okay? Anchor, point. Using the anchor thing, point to that document. Anchor that document. That's the meaning, okay? So we only take that A. Second, this URL refers to a document. So that document, we call it target. The target of this anchor element. Target. Okay? Yeah. All right. Then href is the acronym of Hypertext Reference. Yeah. Hypertext Reference. Yeah. So that's the main idea that Tim Berners-Lee talked about to the community. This brilliant idea, this tremendous this idea he wanted to share with his colleagues and the community. But not many people interested about it. That's the story we talk about in our introduction module. All right. Types of resources. Here, let me describe the resources we can use for this URL part. The first type, what we are talking about here, HTML document anywhere on the web, URL. So, second, a specific location in the current document. We do not need to load a different document. This location, we want to point to the same document, the current document, but we want to show the different location. Okay? For example, your hyperlink is here. This is your link. Okay? But you want your readers to look at a different place in the same document. The document could be long. Okay? So it is not very convenient to tell your readers the number of paragraphs, then the number of 23 paragraph. That's not convenient. So your reader need to count, paragraph number 23. The readers don't like that, right? So the better solution is your hyperlink point to the location. When the reader click it, the browser jump to this location immediately. So that's the second case. How to do it? Let me show you how to do it. Here, you use this special symbol, like hashtag, the pound sign. So we call it pound sign. You use this pound sign to specify the specific location you want your readers to read the reference, okay? Right in the same document. So before the pound sign, you do not have anything. So that means the current document. But how to get to this this place? You need to set that location first. Before you can refer to this location, you need to set that location first. How to set it? Here. All right. So you need to use some tag name. Any tag name is okay. Just some right place. If there is an existing tag, you just use that tag. If there is no existing tag, you can create your own tag. It's okay. You have the flexibility to create your own tag, right? For example, can you use the p tag? The p tag is a paragraph, right? P tag, you can use ID equals something, right? Tell that location. Yeah. Okay. P. Yeah. Although you can put, put something empty, right? Yeah. You do not want to show any content, right? You do not want to show any content. If you do not show any content, but you do not feel comfortable, leave like that, you can use the HTML entity. MBSP, what's that entity? MBST, non-breaking space. Non-breaking space symbol. What's that? That is just a space. The your readers do not see anything, but it is not really empty, right? Yeah, there is an entity there, but just not visible. Yeah, it takes one space character location, but not visible. Okay, yeah. So you have some way to set the location. That's right. All right. So yeah, this pound sign. Yeah. When we set, we should not use the pound sign. Yeah. So I made a copy, but I didn't remove it. Yeah, I need to update it. Because when we define ID, we use a direct string to define it. Okay? We use a string. Yeah. So we do not include that pound sign. Okay? Yeah. I will update my notes. Yeah. Before I post it, I will update my notes. Yeah. All right. So my look. That's it. Yeah. In that way, now you can do this feature. You can do this feature. All right. So that's the case number 2. What we can do in a hyperlink URL. Okay. All right. Number 3. Yeah. Another case. Yeah. Before we go to number 3. Yeah. Because here we want to make our readers go to the same document and some specific location. The same idea, similar idea also works for different documents. When you have a different document, you just use a URL for that document. But you do not want to start from the very beginning. Yeah. You want to point to some other location in the document. So you can use this way. Yeah. Pound sign the ID name, ID of that element of the reference. Yeah. All right. So that's this one. Next feature, a link does not have to be text. Yeah. But at this point, we feel the link should be text, right? This link text, that should be a text, but you can do more than that. A link can be an image or any other HTML element. Yeah. This possibility gives us more freedom to do more things. We can make many elements clickable to jump to a new reference. That's simple. Okay? Here, I just give you image example. The same idea we can use for other elements. For image, suppose you have an image. You want your user, when your users click that image, you want to send your users to a different document. You do this. Okay? So the content of that A tag, you make the image content. Yeah, the whole image, that's the content. Okay. All right. So there, your A tag with the reference URL, okay, you make around this image, yeah, make it clickable. Okay. Yeah. So then you can do the same thing. Yeah. And remember, you can also do this kind of thing on other HTML element. That will be useful. So later when you have some special features you want to do, that's the possibility you can try. All right. The last possible way we can do, call a JavaScript function in Hyperlink. Yeah, so this possibility also very useful. Yeah. We haven't learned JavaScript, but here I just point that out. Later, when we learn the JavaScript, we will use it. We will use this way. All right. So in here, we do not put a URL there. Okay. Yeah. So you can see, in general, we feel we should put a URL there, right? But here, just let you know, we can put a JavaScript function call string. You need to use the JavaScript, this word first. Yeah. Colon, yeah, colon, okay? Then your function name, yeah, your function name, yeah. Yeah. And you can add parameters to your functions. So if you need to use parameters, you can add parameters function. Then when your users click that link, then the browser will call JavaScript function, will execute that JavaScript function to do the data processing and some following actions. Now, so here you can see this feature also very useful. Yeah. All right, so let me just stop at this point. Yeah, so we spend a lot of time only for these two elements. We already spent a lot of time. Yeah. All right, finally, note. Yeah. Something you cannot do. Yeah. The content of an element cannot be another. Oh, sorry. The content of an element of, yeah, I need to add of an anchor element, right? Of an anchor element cannot be another anchor element. That is not allowed. Your anchor element, yeah, the content part, another anchor element, it does not make sense, right? Yeah. So you will confuse the browser, the browser refuses to work in that way, right? Yeah. So do not do that. Yeah. Other than that, then for other ways, based on your logic, analysis, a lot of things you can do. All right, so let's stop here. Yeah.